I have changed this order so many times, but I finally have my most anticipated list, and let me tell you, that was hard.
That's what she said.
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking most anticipated movies of 2023. This isn't the only most anticipated list I'm doing. I'll be talking TV shows a bit later this week, and I still have to count down my favorite TV shows of 2022. But right now, we're talking feature-length films, the big ones, or the small ones. If you guys are here, enjoy this content, and want to support this channel, the best way to do that is by dropping a like down below. And we have a big list of movies that just missed my top 10, so here we go. Let's start with Zac Efron's The Iron Claw. And you know what? I'm putting the Super Mario Brothers on this list just because I'm curious and the animation is stunning. Ferrari, starring Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari. Beau is Afraid, directed by Ari Aster, starring Joaquin Phoenix. This looks great. I have to put Barbie somewhere on the list. It's on my honorable mentions portion, but hey, who's not excited for that? 20,000 tickets to Barbie, please. How about another Joaquin Phoenix movie directed by Ridley Scott? This is Napoleon, and this one sounds really interesting. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's on here because of James Mangold as a director. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This actually looks really interesting. It could be a nice surprise. Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson, one of the better directors in the business. Next Goal Wins. Can Taika Waititi redeem himself from what a lot of people didn't like about Thor: Love and Thunder? And then finally, this was tough to leave off the list, I'm going with Pixar's Elemental. I still need to see a little bit more to get more excited, but it's a Pixar original movie. What's not to be excited about? Let's get into number 10. I'm honestly hoping I'm like the only person to include this movie on my list, but I am really excited about a movie called Spaceman, from the director of Chernobyl on HBO, starring Carey Mulligan, Paul Dano, and Adam Sandler. Maybe I'm on the Sandler high from Hustle, being such a big fan of that film. I'm just loving what he's doing right now with his career. And this one honestly sounds fascinating. An astronaut sent to the edge of the galaxy to collect mysterious ancient dust finds his earthly life falling to pieces, so he turns to the only voice who can help him put it back together, and that voice belongs to a creature from the beginning of time lurking in the shadows on his spaceship. So I'm a big sci-fi fan. I was just the biggest fan of what they did with Chernobyl on HBO, and the fact that it comes from the same director, but also a stacked cast. I don't know what the tone's going to be. It could be a more lighthearted tone, and the creature on the ship could be more of like a buddy-buddy sort of thing, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. It sounds like it could be more of an adult type of film, and if that's not an adult film, that's a different movie. But I like when Adam Sandler handles more serious material, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to do, what Paul Dano is going to do, and it just seems interesting. So interesting that I put it above all of those honorable mentions, so don't disappoint me, please. Next up, we have Creed 3, and while I didn't love Creed 2 as much as Creed 1, I still enjoyed it. I'm a massive fan of this franchise. What the first Creed did, bringing back that Rocky series that we know and love, but putting a fresh spin on it. And this time around, not only do you have the inclusion of Jonathan Majors as the villain, you're seeing the behind-the-scenes pictures, and the guy is massive. Kang could probably squeeze my neck and just pop my head off in real life. But Michael B. Jordan is directing this movie. This is his first feature-length film as a director. You know his heart and soul is in it. I like the tone of the trailer. If he nails this, then I think Michael B. Jordan could bring us more projects behind the camera. Obviously, I'm excited because of the franchise, but I'm really excited to see what he's going to do. John Wick. I never imagined after watching that first movie in the theater that I would be over the moon about a John Wick 4. Because I didn't think we would make it to 4. But thankfully, people have come around on this franchise. Each movie drops at the box office and does extremely well. It has its hardcore fan base, but I think more and more people are discovering John Wick as a franchise. And the fact that all 3 movies are really good or great tells me that why not? Why not Chapter 4 coming out and just blowing us all away? You know the action's going to be great. You know Keanu Reeves is going to crush it. Bill Skarsgård and Clancy Brown are in this movie this time around. Mr. Krabs. See a little tease of that fight scene between Donnie Yen and Keanu Reeves, and I just love the commitment from Keanu in these movies. I think the trailer is as badass as you could possibly imagine, and John Wick Chapter 4 is hopefully going to be on the level of the first three. If it is, I'll be happy. David Fincher's The Killer. I still haven't really heard a lot about this movie other than the premise, other than the cast. You have Michael Fassbender, Tilda Swinton, Charles Parnell. The movie is all about a man, solitary and cold, methodical. He is the killer. He waits in the shadows for his next target, and yet the longer he waits, the more he thinks he's losing his mind, if not his cool. This is a brutal, bloody, and stylish noir story, which is exciting, of a professional assassin lost in the world without a moral compass. A case study of a man alone, armed to the teeth, and slowly losing his mind. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's David Fincher. It's the director of Seven and Zodiac. How could you not get excited from that? And Michael Fassbender, it's been a bit, right? And obviously this year's going to be good for him. Next goal wins, The Killer. So it's kind of his comeback of sorts. And I am ready for David Fincher to get back to the world that I love him in. And, you know, Social Network, one of my favorites he does. We got Mank. I would like for him to get back to that detective style, noir style, really dark sort of movie. And it feels like The Killer could be that. This could be an Oscar player, but more importantly, it could be an intense thriller that keeps you on your seat. That's my favorite genre. And as soon as I see a trailer, it's probably going to move up this list. Next up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I can't wait to see the conclusion, the resolution of what this universe is. And that is an awesome original creation. Obviously, it started in the comics, but James Gunn bringing these characters to life and allowing us to fall in love with them in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And then Volume 2, maybe bringing in more emotion, and I feel like that could go even higher in this third film. You just see it in the trailer alone, right? An origin story for Rocket. Groot is getting older. What happens with Gamora? What happens to our team? Who's going to die? I feel like somebody has to die. Maybe 2 or 3 members of this team. Somebody's going to bite the dust. And you know there are going to be tears in the theater. James Gunn is the perfect guy to bring us this emotion. This is his baby, so you know he's going to have all of the care in the world for it. I loved the trailer. I can't wait for this movie. I'm over the moon about it. Real quick, guys, before we get into number 5, if you have an Amazon Prime account and you're interested in anything involved in my videos, from the equipment I use to the pop figures in the background to my movie theater room, be sure to click on that link and it will take you to all of the products I use in my videos. Also, a quick announcement for Patreon. Patreon will become a full-time thing for this channel starting January of 2023. So if you want to go over there and check out what we're going to have to offer, be sure to do that. Now, back to the list. This feels low. Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese. It's a Scorsese film. So you know it's going to be one of the better movies of the year, right? But how good, right? Set in the 1920s, depicting serial murders. So Scorsese kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, the world that I love him living in as a director. These brutal crimes come to be known as the Reign of Terror, and this film stars, oh my God, Jesse Plemons, Robert De Niro, Brendan Fraser, Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, John Lithgow. Oh my God. This could be the ensemble of the year. This could be the ensemble of the decade. From what I've heard, Jesse Plemons may be your main character, but you have 2 of the biggest stars in the world next to him and just a ridiculously talented director in Scorsese. Like I said, it feels too low, but again, as soon as I see a trailer for Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm just going to be, okay, is this number 1 now? Probably. Here's a movie that I have seen a trailer for, and that automatically bumps up my excitement, but you know it's going to be at least interesting because it's Christopher Nolan. And J. Robert Oppenheimer, his role in the development of the atomic bomb during World War II seems like a fascinating story. And who better to tell this story than Nolan? And who better to star as that character than Cillian Murphy? You also have Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, Dane DeHaan, Kenneth Branagh, Robert Downey Jr., Matthew Modine, Rami Malek, Josh Peck. And being a big Nolan fan, it's a Nolan movie, so why would I not be excited about this? Here's my question. What's the catch? Because with Christopher Nolan, there's always something. It's the storytelling technique. It's the way that everything's presented. It's turning a story like this on its head. Is it going to go in a different direction? Is it truly based on a true story? We don't know, but you know there's going to be something with Nolan. That's what I'm excited for, but I'm also just really excited to see these performances. Specifically, we know Murphy's going to crush it, Robert Downey Jr. in a role like this. I'm so happy he finally gets a role like this. It feels like it's been forever since he's been doing Iron Man. He's amazing as Iron Man, but this feels right. So I'm so excited to see what this film offers us, what it presents, and hopefully what it does present is a compelling character study. I mean, look, you add Florence Pugh, Christopher Walken, and Austin Butler to anything, you're going to get me excited. But Dune Part 2, I really enjoyed Part 1. I thought it did everything I had hoped it would do. It didn't surpass those expectations, those very lofty expectations, but it met my goals of what the movie should have been, and I can't wait to see where this story goes, where we continue from where we left off in Dune Part 1. Obviously, the additions to the cast are great, but for me, it's more where they're going to go with the scale and how is the story going to change and morph in Part 2. And just from what I know from the book, this is going to be a very different story than the first, but it feels like the heart and emotion is going to be maybe even more prevalent than it was in Part 1. I can't say this enough. Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director working right now. Number one. I'm not going to say no competition, but what he does with a story, with characters, behind the camera, cinematography, just bringing us an atmosphere and an experience that we will never forget with each passing movie. It's very impressive. There are so many things that have to fall into place for Part 2 to be incredible. I hope they do. I'm banking on it. Let's see what happens. I think I'm on a Tom Cruise high. Because I'm going to ride into the danger zone with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I'm going to be maybe more excited for this movie than any entry in this franchise so far. That's right, maybe even more than Fallout. Now, is the trailer as good as Mission Impossible Fallout's trailer? No. Those are unfair standards. That's one of the best trailers I've ever seen, but this trailer is still spectacular, and seeing that behind-the-scenes video of what Tom Cruise does, this huge stunt that they attempted for this movie, and that may not even be the biggest stunt of the next two movies because they're saying Part 2 could surpass it, and where this story is right now, where we left off in Fallout, was so compelling, right? We want to talk about the action, the stunt work, and the physicality behind what the actors have to do. All of that is amazing. It's top-notch. It's some of the best we've ever seen. But the story is actually in a really good place right now, and I can't wait to see where they take it, bringing in Haley Atwell and all of the characters that we know and love, and just to have an idea of what Tom Cruise is going to do as the big stunt. But that's one of many that we're going to see in the movie, and I'm just a massive fan of this franchise. I didn't even realize how big of a fan I was until I was putting together this list. And I say, am I going to do it? Am I going to put this movie above Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon? It could be the magic of Top Gun Maverick, but yeah, I think I'm more excited for it. See those Spider-Man pop figures up there? Well, they're up there for a reason. They're up there because I'm in a Spider-Man mood. I've been in a Spider-Man mood for like 2 years. We got Spider-Verse. We got Tom Holland's inclusion in Endgame and all of the Avengers films. And then we get No Way Home. I mean, what left is there to get more excited about than any of those films? Across the Spider-Verse has me salivating for more Spider-Man. And not just more of Miles Morales, an amazing character. Love the voice cast here. I love Gwen and Peter B. Parker and all of the characters that we're going to see once again from the first film. But now you have Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099. Now you have all of these new characters and then some cameos that people are freaking out over. We don't even know how long they're going to be in the movie, but Spider-Man from the PlayStation 4 video game, Spider-Man from the PlayStation 1 video game, Spectacular Spider-Man, who's been confirmed by the director. Are we going to get Tom Holland, Andrew, Tobey, or even Spider-Man from the 1990s? I think all of those things are possible. Clearly, they're going to save a few for being a big surprise while we're watching the movie, but oh my God, how do you not get just amped for what we're about to see in this movie? Bringing together so many Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson would be over the moon right now. Wouldn't you, JJ? I had that ready, clearly. Guy's going to have a field day when he sees this movie. I have been blown away by what I've seen, the behind the scenes, the imagery, the concept art for this film. We don't even know fully what it's going to be about in its entirety, but I don't care at this point. I am so stunned anytime I watch Spider-Verse and see that animation, that beautiful story come to life. And to be on cloud nine about this franchise when a couple of years ago it wasn't even on my most anticipated list, the first Spider-Verse. I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. It was more than interesting. And this movie, this franchise means so much to me at this point. So it is by far my most anticipated movie of the year. Well, I don't want to say that because my top 5, my top 6, they're all like, they could be awesome. We could be in for one of the greatest years of all time when it comes to bigger blockbuster movies or just movies in general. But to be fair, I say that every year, so we're always inevitably disappointed with something. What's this year's massive disappointment going to be? That's my question for you all today instead of a phrase. What movie on my top 10 list or in my top 20 will be the one that makes me the most sad? Let's bring it down. We're going to bring the mood down with this question. Well, let me know your list down below. Is there a movie that I missed, that I forgot about? There are plenty of films that I didn't even mention for my honorable mentions, so please talk about those. And last year's comment section was the best place for me to learn about movies that I didn't even know existed, so thank you guys for that. Stay tuned. Best TV shows of 2022 coming soon, and we have some predictions for the Golden Globes and the Oscars.